Good morning, everyone. Yes, it is 9:30. I know some people aren't sure. Is it 10:30? Is it 8:30? It is 9:30, as far as I am aware. And good morning to Rachel. Good morning to Peter. Good morning to Eitan. Good morning to everyone that are joining us across the world for this mammoth production of Orchot Tzadikim. So we are learning today in memory of Leah Bas Bible, Tzivia Bas Mordechai, Abram ben David Slavin, Shlomo ben Yisrael Morris, Eliezer Shalom ben Abram Shmuel Beres, Tzipore Fegel Bas Reuven Baruch, Shalom ben Eli ben Bas Bible, Fuma Shoshana Bas Yaakov Shmuel, Yirmiyahu Yechia ben Echab ben Moshe, Eliezer Sra Malka Bas Binyamin, as well as your sites for today, which are Tzipora Bas Yitzchak Waxman, Chana Bas Yosef Nosson Verblo, Shmuel ben Moshe Hayims, Vega Bashmul Zev Uruma Aaron Ben David Richman. Wish each and every one of their respective families long life and only simchas. Good morning, everyone. I just want to recap because I appreciate. Good morning, Mervyn. I appreciate that not everyone has been able to be with us throughout the last week. So we're going to go over a bit of the humility before we go forwards. Apologies, Mervyn. Yes, I do still have that stender, but I'm in self-isolation with the family. So as soon as we're allowed out, don't worry, you'll get it back. Just save me a phone call. Right. Okay. Humility. So we mentioned last time, I'm going to go over it very quickly so we can go on. Okay, everyone ready? I'm ready. Yes. Yes, it is tidy behind me for once. I've tidied the bookshelves. That's what happens when you're in self-isolation. You have so much time. So we were discussing about humility, and we said that this should not be confused with one of the great challenges that Rabbi Dr. Twersky and others spell out of our generation. There is a subtle but fundamental difference, friends, between being humble and having lower self-esteem. One of the greatest problems in our generation for our youngsters is that they don't have any self-esteem. They don't feel good in themselves. For anyone that has youngsters, has grandchildren, or that's spoken to therapists, they will tell you it's one of the underlying issue of so many issues with the depression, the anxiety, and all these things is a lack of self-esteem. So therefore, we want to make that fundamental distinction from the outset between the two. We're all familiar, many of us that grew up, with the saying that we mentioned in the week about many people that walked around in the Haim in the old country, and they had two pieces of paper in their pocket, one in each. In one piece of paper it said Bishvili Nivra Olam, which means the world was created for me. The world was created with one human being, which means each of us are like a world. It will be worthy for each of us for the world to be created. Okay. On the other hand, there is another piece of paper in the other pocket which used to say Ich bin a Gunisht, I'm a nothing. And the idea is that we are meant to strike that balance between believing in ourselves on the one hand, and on the other hand, making sure that we remain humble, which we're going to discuss in a minute. Good morning, Dr. Estelle Phillips. Thank you for joining us, and Shavua Tov to everyone, and a good afternoon. I'm just going to confuse you more with the timings. Have you changed your clocks? Let me know. How do you do it? Do you wait up to 2 o'clock and change your clocks? Or do you actually do it just before you go to bed? Or do you do it in the morning? It's confusing, isn't it? What are the halachas? What are the laws about changing the clocks? I was trying to look it up last night to see, I want to do the right thing. I don't want the community to tell me that the rabbi's not doing the right thing. Trying to work out when is the right time to change the clock. Go on, Mervyn, when did you change your clocks? Or maybe some people spoil the fun. They have all these digital clocks and they wait there for it to automatically change. That kind of takes away all the fun of life, isn't it? If it changes by itself. I mean, see, Mervyn, you're just ruining it. You're just taking away my whole drosha. Okay, the whole fun is that you sit there winding or twisting your watch. Yes, I changed my watch. Okay, I changed it. I think this morning, but some of them I did last night. Okay. Because you want to wake up and it's nice and warm. You got to get the heating right. And some of them I did this morning, but I don't like it. I don't like it that it changes. It takes out all the fun of life when it starts changing the time for you. That's what we're meant to do, right? We're meant to decide when we change the time. Anyways, maybe that's me being not particularly humble. Let's learn together let's get back to it, okay? Because time is flying, even though we have an extra hour. And what did you do with that extra hour? Okay, the one I always forget is in my car. Yes, yes. I don't have that issue because I'm in isolation. My family are in isolation, so we can't go in the car. We can't even step out our front door. But eventually, in another week's time, when I'm allowed out and I'm allowed to step into the car, I will have to change the clock, and that's really annoying because you forget how to change the car clock, isn't it? And then you get confused what time it is. Yes, thank you, Rachel. That's the best one so far. Any other suggestions about the one which is that you've forgotten? Any original ones where you may not think to change the clock? Put your suggestions in the chat box. Okay. So we also mentioned last time about Dina Brumsky, right? And the fact is that a person has to know who they are, right? You have to know who you are, right? It's no point in being it's no point in, thank you very much, Mervyn. That's I think there's 6 of us. Yeah, 7 of us. Yes, if you want to come round and make us lunch, that'd be lovely. I'll speak to you afterwards. Okay, so seriously now. So Dina Brumsky found himself in court, and it was a dismissal of a shochet. And in short, we did say this in the week, just to recap. Therefore, the shochet, they asked the credentials of Dina Brumsky, and he was the supreme authority in the country. And he stood up in court and he said, "My name is Dina Cheskela Brumsky. I am the Av Beis Din. I am the supreme ecclesiastical authority in the United Kingdom and in the Commonwealth." And the judge, as they were wont to do in the good old days, lowered his glasses. And he says, "My lord, Diane Abramsky, I don't quite get this. You're meant to be a humble and modest people. Your statement doesn't seem like you're a people of modesty." Diane Abramsky, without missing a beat, said, "My lord, I'm under oath." And therefore, what Diane Abramsky essentially was saying is that it is not a sign of being not humble that one is aware and conscious of who we are. So often people, when you ask them to do something, they say, "Oh, who am I? What am I? I can't possibly do it." But when it comes to getting the plaudits, right, they're quite happy for people to wax lyrical about their accomplishments and achievements. So there is a time. So in short, when it comes to spiritual destiny, when it comes to tasks, missions, challenges in life, we're not meant to shirk away from our responsibilities and say, "Who am I? What am I? I can't do it." Good morning, Michelle. Thank you for joining us. I know in the week it's difficult. I can't recap it for a third or fourth time what I'm doing. I'm doing about humility, okay? And we're discussing humility right now. So when it comes to spiritual matters, a person can't turn around and say, "Who am I? What am I? I can't possibly do that. I can't do anything," right? But when it comes to people speaking about us or people trying to bestow honors on us, that's a time that we are meant to shun the limelight, right? The Chofetz Chaim winced whenever anybody would give him any type of title or any type of credit, right, or any type of of something in a footnote in the newspaper. He didn't want it. That's why we don't find so many photos or pictures. They shunned away from the images and from the pictures from the limelight. Facebook is another world, isn't it? It's all about the exact opposite. So let's have a look now, because what is fascinating is he says how humility is manifest. And I'm sorry, we are jumping a bit because we have done this in the week. How humility is manifest. So he says, one sees how humble. When do you know if you are humble? What's the test? You may say, "Okay, I've got it. I feel like humility is second nature to me." Well, let's see. Let's put it to the test. First way is to see when a person gets angry. If one is greatly ashamed by word or deed, and he or she is in a position to take revenge, but controls themselves and forgives the other for the sake of Hashem, this is a sign of humility. In other words, if you stand up, you say, "No, I'm making a stand," right? I'm getting angry. I'm making a stand. Yeah, it's the principle. It's the principle, right? I love it when people say that. So that they, you want to, it's your ego which is talking. So if you become angry because you feel that there's an affront to who you are, to your persona, that is a sign of you not being humble. Okay, sign of haughtiness. Number two, if one suffers a great loss, right, and a person accepts it, right, You're submissive. You accept your lot in life. You accept whatever happens to you, right? That is, again, a sign of humility, okay? Third one, if a person hears, we already mentioned this, if you hear a person praising you for your wisdom or your good deeds, right? You should not rejoice in your heart, but rather reflect that the good deeds are very insignificant relative to what we could do, being like a drop in the great ocean, okay? So we shouldn't be looking for plaudits or for credit or for people to, to throw titles at us, right? Quite the opposite. Again, humility is, it's enough that I know who I am. My creator knows who I am, right? I don't need anybody else to, to sing my praises. I don't need it. For what? I know who I am, and the Almighty knows who I am. That's all that's necessary. So it doesn't really matter. And so often we get caught up in this, why is it they got thanked, they got praised, and I didn't? I didn't get the credit I deserve. In this world, it's not about credit. So that's, if a person doesn't take offense about the fact, or they're quite happy that they didn't get the credit and praise that they deserve, that's a sign of humility. Okay. So if the blessed one, another one, this is number 4, if a person is blessed with great wealth and good things in this world, a family, right, and a person gets wisdom and abundance, right, then a person should be even more humble and lowly before the Almighty, right? So and we see this, he says, with Abraham, who humbled himself. He says, I am like dust and the ashes. In other words, having more shouldn't increase and boost our ego. Very often you see the two, there's a correlation, don't we? We see that. Good morning, Michael. Apologies, I was looking to the camera. We see a correlation between a person's accomplishments, their wealth, their power that they have, and their sense of lack of modesty, humility. They feel very full of themselves, right? But there are people that you see, occasionally you come upon them, that you would not know that they are highly successful. You would not know that they are exceptionally wealthy, because they don't want any fuss. They've managed to acquire this character trait of humility. It's something which is challenging. The more, right, the more you accomplish. What was it Winston Churchill said about Clement? I know I'm going to be corrected by Estelle, but I think he said something like, in 1951 election, he said, a modest man with plenty to be modest about, right? A sheep in sheep's clothing. That was one of the statements I remember from when I was studying history, right? So right, the more that we accomplish and achieve, the more challenging it is to remain grounded, to remain humble, right? It's much more challenging. So that's number 4. Let's skip and see if you get the other 2. So the next one is how do we know if we're humble? If a person reproves you, right? In other words, you get told off. Somebody tells you didn't do what you're meant to do. You didn't behave the way you're meant to, right? And they tell you off for what, I don't think the way you treated so-and-so was correct, or the way you behaved was correct, right? And the question is, how do we take that criticism? Do we take it personally? Does it hurt us to our core? Do we become defensive? Or is it that we take it on board? We're able to process that criticism, and then we can weigh it up. Doesn't mean we have to take it to heart, but we take it seriously. We weigh up, right? That's what Lord Sachs says. I remember him speaking to the rabbis before he left, and he said, whenever anybody says something, weigh it up. Is it true or isn't it true? If it's not, then you can discard it, right? But we don't have to instantly become, and we have a human nature is that we become defensive. We can't take it. You said something that upset, that diminished me, that criticized me, right? You're deflating my ego, who I am, what people think about me. I can't take that. I'm not going to take that lying down. I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. How often have we heard this? And yet, the way of the Jewish people is that we are a humble people. We follow in the footsteps of Moshe and Abraham, who had achieved and accomplished so much, both in physical terms and spiritual terms, and yet remained so modest. So I think that is pretty much enough for this morning, okay, in regards to the modesty, humility. You'll be interested to know that the next one we are going to look at is shame, okay? Shame, okay? Busha, right? We suffer very often shame, and we have to understand what it is and what we are meant to do with it. But I can tell you one thing, just through learning with you guys every day, and we do this at lunchtime, I know, and I apologize. Chatati avisi pashati. I know people would love it at 8:30 in the morning. I'm trying to find a way to do it early because I know people go to work or start work at home. It is very challenging because usually I am in a car driving, and I don't think it's particularly, even if I have dropped everyone off, if I'm sitting in the car and I'm talking to you, I know that it's not particularly the way we would like it. I'd much rather be in front of a computer in my office, giving you my undivided attention as opposed to on the side of a road. If you've got any suggestions as to the way we can do it, be it pre-recorded, which I know people also don't like, or a different time, please come up with suggestions in the chat box before we finish. In the meantime, let's move on. Apologies, it's slightly longer than usual today, but bearing in mind, of course, that we have an extra hour, so really, you're still ahead of the game. What better way to spend that extra hour than learning something which should be a zchus and merit for all those that are unwell? And in particular, we want to dedicate our learning to the Av Basin of London, Diane Chanoch Ehrentreu, who's still in hospital, not well, and his Hebrew name is Rav Chanoch ben Blimela, somebody who had such a profound impact. And of course, also to the Lord Sachs, Rav Yaakov Yonah ben Liba, the Rav Lord Sachs. We wish them both refuah shlema. Both of them are in need of a refuah shlema, amongst all those that have COVID and all those that are unwell. Various suggestions are coming in. I have to say, I'm very impressed. I'm going to carry on with Psalms, and then we'll hopefully come to some some conclusion. Okay. 5 o'clock I can't do. I wish I could. Okay, 5 o'clock is manic. Okay, but other suggestions about in the morning, I'm happy to come up with, or we can do 2 times. I don't know. We can try and work it out. So the Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even when I walk in the valley of darkness, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord for the length of days. Memorial prayer for those that we are saying Kaddish for. Adon Olamim Zacho Es Nishmais Leah Bas Bible Tzivi Bas Mordechai Avram Ben David Slavin Shalom Yisrael Morris Eliezer Shalom Ben David Shmuel Beretz Perafegel Bas Reuven Baruch Shalom Ben Eli Ben Bas Bible from Shoshana Bas Yaakov Shmuel Yirmiyahu Yochai Ben Echav Ben Moshe Eliezer Shalom Malka Bas Ben Yomin, as well as the yortzites for today. Tipura Bis Yabaz Yitzchak Waxman Chana Bas Yosef Nosson, Shmuel Ben Moshe Chayims Vega Bas Shmuel Ben Zev Bruma, Aaron ben David Richmond, Shalchul Elamam Bagan Eden Menuchasam Lachem Balarachamim Yatri Misesakana Pavlamim, Vesabatachim Shosad Nachlasam, Vianuchu Bishlomish Gavam, Venamar, Amen. I can see there is much discussion about the best time to do it. So here we have 5 p.m. How about 9:30? Maybe people take a lunch break around 12:30. Would that be a good time? Anytime during the day is challenging if work doesn't permit. Regular lunch break or lunchtime meetings get scheduled. Yeah, so I can do at 9 o'clock, or the alternative 8:30. I'm still in the car. 9 o'clock I could do. I mean, I can do much earlier if you want. I can do it 6:30 in the morning. So I'll give you a few options. There's 6:30. There's 9 a.m. or 9 or 9:30. But I presume people are starting work then. Or there's to keep it at the 12 o'clock. You can message, or you can put your comments in the chat whilst we say the refuah shlema prayer. Whilst we do the refuah shlema prayer. Mi sheberach Avosseinu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Moshe Aaron David Shlomo Yivarech Ra Pesach Chaylim. Ba'avo shana mispalim ba'avoram b'zchaz HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachim Aleihem Lach Malafosam V'yishlach Lehem refuah shlema Nishmayim L'chol Evim B'tzor Shachol Yisrael refuah sanefesh refuah saguf Hashavak Zman Karev V'nomar Amen. Okay. So 6:30 also is challenging with family. Then it's 8:30 and 9 a.m. So I think it sounds 9 a.m. sounds the best at the moment. Sounds like most people. Not everyone's happy with 12 o'clock, which is the time we're doing it. So I'll tell you what we're going to do, guys. We're going to try 9 o'clock. Okay, 9 o'clock it is. Okay, for this week, a one only, a pilot project. You are going to be the guinea pigs. We'll see what happens with it. And let's be clear, 9 o'clock on the new time. So really, 9 o'clock is really 10 o'clock. But let's not confuse everyone. 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Okay, synchronized watches. You can't do that anymore because everyone's using these automated phones. Anyways, it's been a pleasure. Lovely to see you. Look forward to learning with you. And of course, I'm looking forward to being in conversation with Minister Penina. That is going to be going out on Thursday. I'm actually going to be meeting with her online tomorrow with Gila for an interview. It's a big, big honor. She's the Minister of Aliyah and Absorption. Did you know this week is the week for the week of Aliyah? She was telling us this coming week. And she's got an incredible story of journeying from Ethiopia. She was 3 years old when she left and made her way, then was brought up, had to integrate in Israeli society, and now is a minister in government. What an incredible journey. And we look forward to hearing about her and asking her about how easy it was for an Ethiopian woman to make it up into government and to integrate into society. Should be fascinating. Thank you to each and every one of you. I'm learning so much along the way. I'm sure we all are. And as we have done, we'll please God, in a matter of a few weeks, maybe a month, we'll be able to finish this book and be all the better and bigger and greater for it. Take care. Have a great day. Stay dry. It may rain. All the best.